It's Thursday, July 30th, 2026, and the Chicago White Sox are once again the best team in Major League Baseball. 2 years ago, we finished with 99 wins. This season at the trade deadline, we have 65, which beats out the Cincinnati Reds and the Atlanta Braves for first in MLB. We're doing it with not a lot of individual performances that are great. Jonathan Stever is tied for first in wins, and Alex Lang is second in saves, but those are more indicative of team success than individual success. So how do we do it with our guys? Fernando Romero, or actually I should go to a Major League scope. Jonathan Stever, first in the AL in wins right now, tied for first, on track for 18. He is finally who we thought he would be after parts of 4 different Major League seasons. He is far and away having the best of his career, 141 ERA+, 3.53 FIP. He is the ace of our staff so far, and at age 29, he still is under contract for a few more years, still on the minimum right now. So we'll get him in his whatever his career turns out to be. But he's having a great first real season here, and I think he is a rookie, so he can challenge a few of our other players who are young for Rookie of the Year, including Christian Mania, who I think the cutoff for a rookie pitcher is 75 innings. He's sitting here at 70, maybe that was 75. No, 74, right? Yeah. So he's still got rookie eligibility also, 2.74 ERA. He spent some time in the bullpen, but back in the rotation after we made some moves. You'll see Lucas Giolito is not here. We traded him for Lou James Groover III from the Los Angeles Dodgers, who's struggling in AAA. But Giolito, I was going to cut him anyways. He had been great for us through so many years. Now in LA, he's got a 2.30 ERA, but a really high FIP. You see a 5.80 ERA, 5.14 FIP. These ratings have declined. Now he's in a relief role in LA. It was just time for him to be done. And I would have loved to keep him. I'm sure that in real, if this was a real life environment, he would be a fan favorite after so many years of performing well. But he leaves the White Sox after, a couple All-Star level years. So we're sad to see him go. Just added a prospect, so I didn't have to give him away for nothing. Eduardo Rodriguez in his age 33 season, putting together a solid, starter-level year, 3.32 ERA, on pace for 171 innings. He'll be a free agent after the year. I probably wouldn't bring him back. Fernando Romero, who we gave up a decent amount for here with Wes Kath, who is struggling. He was off to a great start in San Diego, but I think we made the right move by trading him. He's struggling there. And Roderick Arias, who still has the potential to be a good player at 21, but I'm okay with moving on from both those players for a bona fide starting pitcher in a playoff rotation. 3.32 ERA. He missed the first couple starts this is Rodriguez. Romero, 3.22 ERA. Only on pace to throw 121 and 2/3 innings. He missed about the first month of the year. Started in AAA and pitched wonderfully, so I brought him right up after his short rehab assignment. Jose Soriano was our all-star in the pitching staff. 2.30 ERA, 1.5 RWAR. We got him for nothing from LA after he had a good year last year for the Angels. And he's having an even better one with us. We're really working him in the bullpen. He's in arbitration, so he's under team control. Be a reliable piece of our bullpen for the future. Jose Quintana has struggled as of late, but he's still putting together a good season. I have some trade candidates that might take his spot in the rotation. Well, actually one, namely, and from the same team, the Mets. So we'll see if we can get him later on in the video. Luke Jackson, we just traded from the Boston Red Sox. He was having a good year and an all-star this year for Boston. 2.42 ERA and 52 innings pitched. Through 6 innings with us, he's only allowed a run and a half. And we got him along with Yordis Valdez, who can play a little bit of shortstop, more of a second base prospect or a third baseman, but with a decent enough bat to include in a trade like this. At 24, I'm happy to have him. He's in Charlotte right now. For Adam Hackenberg, who had hit well for us, a 91 OPS plus, which I said in the last video that would be good enough for me, but the problem was that much of that offensive production was from 1 month, I believe. with a 3.33 BABIP here in May, and that's where a lot of it came from. He's been kind of awful in July, not great in April, and I'm really not at a loss with him, to be honest. And to pick up an all-star reliever, fill out the bullpen is good for me. Giovanni Moran is back to being the player we saw in 2024, not so much in 2025. 3.12 ERA, striking out 10 batters per 9. That's a bit lower, but his walks are down. So you take what you can get with him, and he's been a valuable lefty for us out of the pen, pitching to a 1.96 ERA against those with the same handedness as him. Taylor Rogers, another lefty that is a ground baller, so his FIP is not going to be as good as his ERA. And this is probably a bit more of he's a little lucky with this 2.40 BABIP. Should be closer to like 2.70, but he's been valuable for us, and I'm happy we got him. He will not reach his vesting option, so he'll be a free agent after the year. And I probably won't bring him back, but he's been a good budget deal for us. We claimed Garrett Crochet off of waivers from the Colorado Rockies, pitching to a 2.31 ERA. Isn't a starter for us like he was for a bit in Colorado. Last year he was a starter, or no, 2 years ago when he had a good year, he was a starter. This year, no. But if you remember, we traded him for Ryan McMahon straight up, and McMahon is still having a good year with us. So it's a win-win. We got both those players back on the team, and we're in good shape to make the playoffs. Alex Lang, I'd really like his ERA to be in step with his FIP like it was in 2024 with Detroit, but he's still on pace for 48 saves this season. Again, he's second in the American League in that category right now, only behind the Tigers. And I have confidence that he can step up and do that, only in arbitration, making $4.5 million. He's a good player. Josh Sborz, solid relief pitcher for us, 97, 99 miles an hour. 3.38 ERA, just kind of your average run-of-the-mill back of the bullpen kind of guy. I called up Conrad Bonert because he was angry in AAA that he hadn't come up yet. I think we'll keep him in the bullpen down the stretch of the playoffs. He's got a really live arm. Only pitched 3 innings so far for us, so we'll see what happens. He might go down if we pick up another reliever, but he's the number 23 prospect in baseball. I might also check in on offers for him because at 22 with this movement and control only supposed to get this high. He's only got 3 pitches. This kind of player has a lot of fluctuations that are possible. So I might maybe keep him for the playoff run and then look to trade him next year, but he's not a player I'm married to. Keeping him around for the long term, I think in an instant he can fall off. Story of the year has been Carlos Pena. He came up, I believe, in April. I sent him down. He came back up sometime in May or June and has just been lights out. He made the All-Star game here in only 58 games played when we're 108 games into the season. He's played half the year and he made the All-Star game, and there's good reason why. He's hit 18 home runs already, 173 OPS plus, 2.7 WAR. If he played the whole season, he'd be the MVP, and he has been carrying our offense here. Very happy about Pena, 19th round pick 2 years ago. Took off with the talent change randomness, now one of the best potential hitters in baseball, and a perennial MVP candidate really with the skill set. Very happy about Pena. Luis Robert has hit very well recently after struggling to start the year. You see a 73 OPS plus 70 and then a 139 and a 203 over the last 2 months. He missed some time in between there in June, has come back having a great year. I'll probably bring him back on that team option he has for $20 million after I was seriously debating earlier in the year dropping that, but he's still a very good player, and we've had some problems with the depth pieces, as I'll show you. George Springer, very surprising season for him, having the best season offensively since 2022 in real life. In this sim, he hasn't been quite as good as he is right now, 122 OPS plus, WRC plus, hitting 17 homers. Just crossed over 300 for his career. I'm very glad we have him. He's a proven veteran hitter, and even though we do have some playoff experience in this simulation, he's a guy that's won a World Series. Don't have many of those on our team, and I think he'll bring something special come playoffs. Still competing in right field. Very happy about that. So for this trade, for for Caleb Freeman and Jordan McKell, which was really just a salary dump for the Pirates. This is the best player involved in the trade. Very happy about getting Springer this season before he's a free agent. Andrew Vaughn has heated up recently, and now he's playing like the MVP we know him to be this month in July, after just really being, an all-star, capable, above-average kind of hitter. Finally, 8 home runs this month, still with 1 game left in July, on track to hit 30 bombs. But what I was thinking about is maybe this season, with the BABIP a little high, his MVP year, maybe that's the outlier. I don't know. I mean, he had 118 RBIs a year before and 39 homers, but he wasn't as good in everything else in his game. He did have actually more doubles that year. But I think we can expect this kind of season like we saw in 2023 rather than this season. And to be honest, he is up for the qualifying offer at the end of the year, and I don't really want to give him this contract for a first baseman who's fluctuated as much as he has. So I'm going to offer him the qualifying offer and see if he sticks around. But this might be the last season we have Andrew Vaughn on the team, which is unfortunate because I do love him as a player, but this contract is too much. And going into his age 36 season, maybe that's not a Miguel Cabrera type situation where you're paying him $40 million until he's 40, but still a very risky deal. And I'll show you what I offered to Carlos Pena. Did I? Yeah. 15 years, $221.5 million for Pena. I'm not going to play this whole sim out, but I want him to be a White Sox for life after this rookie season. So I don't care how many years he's on the payroll for. I think the last year of the deal was still only $19 million, but he was 15 years guaranteed after only 58 games of production. I think I might fudge with the contract and the editor just to make it a little bit more realistic, but we are offering a long-term deal to Carlos Pena. We'll see if he accepts after the deadline. Terrell Tatum having a good year in part-time duty. He was a starter for the early part of the season, now relegated to a more of a backup role with the outfield depth that we have. But he's a great player to have in the postseason. 130 OPS plus, finally coming into his own as a ball player. Ryan McMahon has cooled off offensively. 99 OPS plus for the third baseman this month, but after last month in June of 48, he's trailed off really each month of the year. He's still a quality fielder at second base, but not what he used to be. This will probably be the last year for McMahon under contract, and we'll look to move off this deal next season and move some other players into that role or search for his replacement. Willy Adames has been a pleasant surprise this year, hitting for an 86 WRC plus, 91 OPS plus. He's on track for almost 30 homers. He's not a great fielding shortstop, but I'll take it with the bat that he has and his captain ability. What am I trying to search for here? Splits this month. Above average hitter the past 2 months after a slow start. That's kind of been the story of our season so far. If we look at the bad month we had in May compared to how we played in April, June, and July, we could be even better than we are right now, and our Pythagorean record indicates that. We're a very good team, and I'm excited for the postseason. I thought this was going to be another step back. In May, we were a couple games under 500 and behind the Tigers for the division lead. We've now outpaced them, and I think we're going to keep ascending, especially with some moves we'll get into that I'd like to make at the deadline. Oscar Colas, again, maybe his rookie year is the outlier for him, although he did have a similar level of production last year, albeit in more games and far fewer power production, far less home runs. Still under arbitration, so he'll be back next season, but maybe we see Tatum get into the lineup a little bit more. And also Colas is an awful fielder, so I think I'd like to open up the DH slot for him. He's proven over his career that he's just been, weird. He was so good in left field. Not so good, but, pretty good last season in left, and now he's awful. And that was a year after he was, okay. So who really knows what Colas is doing? He's kind of having a Juan Soto, trajectory. Can never say that word. Trajectory in left. Carson Kelly we just traded for. I had Bo Bichette request for a trade. Nobody really wanted him but the Mets. He's not hitting well there right now, and for him we pick up Carson Kelly to replace Adam Hackenberg, as well as John Bay, who I need to switch to first base. He's a 25-year-old pure slugger kind of player, down in high A for us, hitting well. I don't think he'll ever make it to the bigs, but why not add a throw-in to improve the minor league depth? We also claimed Ronald Hernandez on waivers. Jimmy Crooks was not really doing it for me, and Hernandez seemed like the more promising player. And unlike a lot of our catchers, he has a different kind of archetype where he doesn't strike out as much, doesn't hit for power. A lot of our guys sell out for power, strike out a lot, don't hit for contact. Only 22, has options left. We'll see what happens with him. He might not make the playoff roster, but we'll see. I called up Gage Workman after a great season so far in AAA. He won't stick around, I don't think, on the big league roster, just because I'll show you Maui Ahuna's stats. He's been very good this year, but he's hurt for only a couple more days. And Wilfred Veras has been a disappointment. I think he really did. That might have just been obscene luck last year for him with the start that he had, making the All-Star game and then completely falling off a cliff in the second half of the year. He'll continue to be a bench player for us, I think, but he no longer really factors into the long-term plan for me, given his struggles he's had. So that does it for the lineup that's not hurt. We'll check Maui Ahuna here. 2.2 WAR, 113 OPS plus, solid rookie year, should challenge for Rookie of the Year. Does have a 352 BABIP, so maybe the offensive production comes down, but he is a solid fielder at second base. So very happy about Ahuna. Good first-round pick for us, for him to break the majors and have the opportunity to win Rookie of the Year. Alberto Mota has been disappointing. We purchased him out of the Atlantic League early in the season. Just hasn't delivered for us based on his ratings here. He might come back down the stretch, but he's out for 5 more weeks. Billy Sullivan, who I'm sad I never called up. I just never had a spot for him. Tore his UCL, and he'll be out for the next season. Maybe we keep him on the 40-man and hope to bring him up, but after a Tommy John surgery where his control was already as low as it is, he can throw 98 to 100, but if he's walking 7 guys per 9, I don't know if I can bring him up to the big league club. Really talented arm, though. So right now that's the team. If we look at the minors, Benny Montgomery has struggled. We brought him up to replace Luis Robert after he got hurt, and he started the season as the starting right fielder. He had a 176 BABIP and was awful offensively, and I just tried to keep him up to get this BABIP up, because you see every other season he's up to 300, and if he gets that level of production, he's a really good player. But his ratings have taken a dip. I don't think this is indicative of the player he is, though. He's still promising, still plays a great right field, and has been good in center field for us in limited playing time. So maybe he comes back up towards the end of the year, as he's hitting better than he was. Esteban Gonzalez, I just called up after a hot stretch in Double-A. He's on the 40-man roster, just outside the top 100 prospects. Ryan Ritter, potential shortstop of the future, hitting decently well. These ratings scare me, though, but he does have 70 infield range and is fielding well for Charlotte. Maybe not the shortstop of the future, but a good backup. Talked about Valdez, excited to see how he does. Luke Lito has come on now. He's just incrementally gotten better each season. At 23, he's a lefty third baseman. I don't think that he'd challenge for the starting role next season unless he vastly improves, but good bench hitting piece for us in the high minors. Jonathan India might come up for us as a right-handed bat, depending on how we do in the trade market. 111 OPS plus after his terrible year in Seattle. I'll see. And Carson DiMartini, just kind of an average lefty bat. So we have some pieces, I think, here that we can use to trade either at this deadline or in the offseason to bolster us. You see Jimmy Crooks, it might be the end of the road for him. He hit well in 2025 in Double-A and Triple-A, and the past 3 years have been rough sledding for him. Past 3 times leagues he's played in have been rough sledding. Same with Harry Ford. I actually DFA'd him and nobody claimed him, so he might have reached the end of his time as well. Yenier Cano is now down in Triple-A. I'll probably end up calling him up. He's a good player. If Bonert struggles. And then other than that, Brandon Williamson, depth starter. Pierce George up in AAA, pitching well, but the ratings have fallen. I'm a bit worried about that. Andrew Abbott is down in AAA after a rough start for us in Chicago after a good year last year, but just couldn't get it going, and now he's struggling in AAA. Jacob Walsh hitting well in AA. Jackson Davis, not so much. What other prospects do we have? Miguel Ulola, who I don't think we traded anything for him. Yeah, Luis Cardenas, who's nothing, and Brizuela. Pitching well in Double A. He's on the 40-man roster, but he won't come up anytime soon. Eric Hernandez, I put him up to High A. He's hitting well here. Should be in Double A very soon. Cooper Witten, not struggling, but not excelling here in High A. Gavin Turley, I drafted. I can show you the draft class as well. Riley Jackson. Ty Pete, his ratings have come up, and he's finally hitting well in the minors. But I will show you our draft class here. Or actually, let's see, player development-wise, 14th, Jeff Calderon. A couple guys we drafted show up on the top 100, as well as Esteban Ojeda, who is an international free agent signing. So, see the draft history. Jeff Calderon, I really do not like taking high school pitchers, but with the 14th pick, number 33 prospect in baseball already, lefty high schooler, you can't pass up this profile, and we, I think, only gave him a signing bonus of like $6.5 million. He's got a lot of room for growth. I mean, a 9.7 WAR, like an ERA below 0.5 in high school. Already was in the draft league as a couple summer leagues as a 17-year-old. Actually, a 17-year-old. But it's a really high ceiling pick, and it's kind of against my own what I like to do in the draft, but he was too good of a player to pass up. And then we draft Thomas White, who is a college starting pitcher, number 43 prospect in baseball. This changeup needs to develop, but right now he's ready with these three pitches for the high minors. I have him, he's still in the draft league right now in Cape Cod from Massachusetts area, but he would be in Double A next year and maybe even the bigs. Ernest Fruchtenbaum can play center field, but more of a corner outfielder. I just thought this ratings profile was too good in the second round to pass up. We signed him. And Thomas White, by the way, was the supplemental pick we got for losing. Who did we give the qualifying offer to? Wasn't Tim Anderson, wasn't Zach Wheeler. Cease. So we get Thomas White for Dylan Cease. And if we check on Cease, pitching for the Brewers, 5.15 ERA. I'd rather have Thomas White. Very happy about that. Chris Malden, he was a reliever that had come along well, and this draft was weak once again. He was very good in these draft leagues. Pitching actually as a starter, but he only has 2 pitches. Anybody else of note? Chad Martinovich had a good profile and had fallen a bit. He's durable, good hitter out of high school at first base. I don't know if he'll make it. Ben Cobb, another starter, can't strike anybody out. Looks like he tore his flexor tendon already in rookie ball, but he was pitching okay. Mosey, third baseman kind of guy. Marquise Virgil, wow, he's already terrible. I don't get how rookie ball works in this game. It frustrates me. Zion Rose, once a highly regarded high school player, now a 9th round pick. Anything else that's really interesting? Kyle Morrison, 65 power already. He's ready to be in AAA as a bench piece. Just kind of a dart throw of a 10th round pick. Jeremy Buchholz slipped this far as a 65 potential. More of a DH first base than a corner outfielder, but good bat, especially in the 13th round. I let my scout draft these last few rounds. Christopher Diaz, sure, in the 15th round. So that's our draft class that we pulled in. And these are the 2 players I'm targeting on the trade block here. We can look at the rest of the trade block. It's very weak, in my opinion. We could make some bullpen additions. I might, depending on what comes up in the deadline window. Christian Vasquez was a guy we could have traded for instead of Carson Kelly, but this bat is so weak, I wanted a better bat. And there are good bats here, but they're more first basemen, and we have 2 that are like all-star capable, so I don't need any of these guys. A lot of these guys are hurt or just more defensive players and teams wanting to get rid of guys. Yohan Moncada, for the Cubs. Has played well the past 2 seasons, but not a guy I really need. So it's Brendan Rodgers, who would come in, take the role that I thought Bo Bichette would play, and they want some guys for him. I think we're going to trade for him right now. So if you want Pierce George, you retain the rest of this deal. I'm willing to do that. So with that guy, no. With that guy, I don't want to give up Pierce George. But it seems like we might have to. For a rental, for a guy that's only going to be a part-time player, I don't know if I would do that. They really like him. They'd be willing to give us a lot of different players. Okay, here we go. Rene Lastras, I'd still like to keep him. I feel like Carson DiMartini would be a realistic way to approach this trade. So if I took him off, what are we thinking here? Ulola, righty, get him off the 40-man, could do that. Jared Kelly is a captain, I'd rather not trade him. James Groover. Mania, no. What are the first base types looking like in AAA? So I would be trading DiMartini and Groover, who are both our first basemen in AAA. But we have Pena and we have Walsh. I wouldn't want to give up both of them from the same position. I would give up DiMartini, though. Kelly and DiMartini. Cole Carrig, throw him in there. No. Is he any good? No. That's a good player. And we'll give him up. Yeah. Roman Anthony. He's pretty good. I mean, Cole Carrick's a good player to end up with, if that's who it is. What about this guy? No. 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 Okay, Cole Carrick, Brendan Rodgers for Jared Kelly, who I will keep track of. And DiMartini, removed from the prospect pool. 4th round pick in 2024. Hitting okay, but I don't ever see him coming up to the big leagues. And we're in a position to compete for a World Series. So we're not going to complete this trade right now. I want to see if the other guy that I want can be traded with DiMartini in some kind of package. So if I pull him back up, Pena, that. No, doesn't look like Sandy. I'll show you Sandy's stats in a second because it's pretty obvious why they want Pena. Sandy Alcantara has a 2.34 ERA and is about to win his second Cy Young if things continue. He is incredible this year for the Mets, and I want him so bad. I don't even know why he's on the trade block. He's got a team option after the year. The Marlins retained everything. The Mets traded Nick York and Brendan McNair for him, who that's, a decent package, but he's so good. So good. They'll give me anybody. Who else do you like? Ulola, take him. I just want to get I'd trade you Pierce George. I would. If we could have him, if we could have Sandy next season. Okay, whatever. Let's see. If this doesn't get us any closer with these 3 guys, then we can abandon ship. Yeah, okay. So it's Pena or nothing. They want Pena, and rightfully so. And if we look at any other starting pitchers available, Zach Eflin, pitching okay, but I don't think I'd give up Quintana. Oh, he's out anyways. Fujinami, terrible. John Gray, Novacell. I've never even heard of this man before. What do they want for him? What if I did... Okay, it's the Mets again. So let's reevaluate. What other starters are there? As we go down here. Wood. No. Okay, so Novacell. Who else do they have on the block? I have enough money to absorb a lot of these guys. Urquidy, is he pitching? No, he's pitching poorly. They want to get rid of him. Cool. How? They have all this retained salary, so he's not even... What the hell? He's retained too. What? The Mets are so good at this. They have no money left, so the only way they can trade for players is to retain all the money. Okay, Pablo Lopez, but he's... Oh, no, he's not having a good year. Okay, they'd probably like me to get him. And then he would just be paid the salary of Sandy. And, like, I'd take on Yandy. Okay, they don't even want it. They like Varys, though. I would trade Varys. Okay, we'll throw him in there. So they want to get off Yandy, and if we throw Sandy, Lubob now. We're getting somewhere. We are getting somewhere. We only lose $7 million and maybe a few million for the next couple of years. So if we threw DeMartini, Pierce George, you want Fernando Romero. Okay. Okay. This is a completely unrealistic trade, but I'm trying to win World Series here. And Yandy can still play a little bit of third, DH for us on off days. We bring in Rogers. We need guys who can hit lefties. We need guys who can hit, really. We lose Varys, so Yandy would take his spot. We'd lose DeMartini, which I'm not upset about. We'd lose Pierce George, and I don't really think he's going to be a player. We already have Bonert. What about Bonert? You like him? Yeah, you do. Okay. I took out Pierce George. You would take Garrett Crochet. Okay. If I got rid of Bonert. I would rather give up Pierce George. Okay. So this is the deal. We would have Sandy for 2 more seasons. We'd have Yandy to replace Varys. Lopez, I could take or leave. We'd be on the hook for him. And Novacell's in AAA, but I think he's a decent, bench option. We lose a lefty out of the bullpen, so what are we standing in that regard? Still got 4 lefties, 2 of them starters, though. And then I would want to trade Quintana, I think. I don't have a game today, so I wouldn't have to worry about being over a roster limit. Okay. I think I'm ready to do this trade. But then I would have to find another... I still want Brendan Rodgers, so I would have to find another deal for him because we're giving up DeMartini. What if we didn't... Okay, we have to take on these guys. But Lopez. Okay, we don't even need Lopez. Sounds good. I don't really have a spot for him anyways. And he's pitching poorly. Well, pitching okay FIP-wise. So Novacell, Diaz, and Alcantara for Varys, DeMartini, Crochet. Yeah, they want him. Which I'm not, upset about giving him up. So we're going to do this trade. We lose only $2.5 million, but we do lose Pierce George, Garrett Crochet, Carson DeMartini, and Wilfred Varys, who was an all-star for us, but he's kind of fallen off. So, I mean, I've made so many deals with the Mets. We're kind of best friends at this point. Let's see, prospect-wise, though. What else? What else can you give me? No. A guy that I could just throw in there. Whatever. This is it. Okay, 2 pitchers. Boom. We did it. Star-studded swap. Crochet for Alcantara. We pick up Sandy, pick up Novacell. The fans are into it. Pena's about to sign this extension. We are cooking with gas today. Alcantara, Novacell, Yandy. Boom. Still need a bat. A pitcher needs to go down. What do we look like right now? So they took Mania out of the rotation and kept Quintana in. I'd like to trade Quintana. Still, if we can shop him around. He's under contract for 3 more years, so I think we'll have a tough time getting him off, maybe. Gotta see. So just a guy I can, like, DFA? No. If I wanted to completely sell out, I could. Get Trey Turner. Stanton, no. Yelich. Baez. If I could trade for Baez and get 1 year off the deal, I'd do that. So how much money would you'd be willing to retain? A lot. Okay. And we lose a year. Well, not really, because it's a vesting option, and I guess you can't DFA him. But he's definitely not going to pitch 180 innings. So now we're losing money. No, it's not worth it. We'll send Boner down. So now we got to make... We have Alcantara. No. Very happy about that. Now we have to make this trade for Brendan Rodgers. Okay. They like Bonert. They liked Groover, who I'd be comfortable giving up for him. And Jared Kelly as well as Ulola. I'd do it. Groover. Maybe keep him around for a minute more. No. Okay. Lou James Groover, Miguel Ulola. Open up a spot. Our assistant GM doesn't like it, but I don't care. Any prospects available? Oh, yeah. Cole Carrig, who I think could be okay. Plays everywhere, all over the field. Brendan Rodgers. I don't think it's a stinker of a deal, Rick Hahn. I think you're wrong. Boom. Pick up 2 more, legit prospect, and then Brendan Rodgers, who's a legit player. Send down Workman. Bring Rodgers up. All right. Looking better here. Are there any veteran catchers, just to make sure? Reese McGuire, no. He's having a good year, though. What would it take? No shot. What if I just traded for Christian Vasquez and didn't worry about the platooning? Nope, he has a no trade clause. Okay. Garv Sauce? Come back for round 2? Possibly. But I don't know if it's that much better than Hernandez. And then last one, Mejia from Cleveland. Can't really play catcher and can't hit. Nope. Okay. So let's see. Simulate one more day ahead. Go to the trade deadline, see if anybody wants any of our boys here. So the players I'd be willing to trade. Already have Quintana on the block. Spores, sure. I think I would. And then Cano, if anybody really wants him. Yeah. Okay. And we are on the hook for Alcantara's contract next season, but no hesitation in, picking that up. Dave Novacell is a reliever, is a good pickup. His ratings increased there, and he was pitching well for the Mets there this season. Happy about that pickup. And the Mets, 59 and 51, they could make the playoffs, but I guess they want to move to, I don't know, more of a youth movement. They still have Scherzer, who's now 42 and kicking. But let's see what else we can trade for here. I have a couple players on the block. What are the other deals that have gone on? Our deal here, I'm going to promote him to AAA. They have Pierce George in rookie ball. They have Varys with the Mets back already. DeMartini also in rookie ball. They have him at shortstop, which he cannot play. Christian Walker goes to the Rays, or the Angels. Eloy traded again, this time back to the Mets, from the Brewers to the Mets. Noah Syndergaard for Tommy Edman. Mickey Moniak and Kevin Alcantara for Curtis Mead. That's an interesting trade for the Rays. Must like Alcantara a lot. Trade block, again, not really offering me a lot. I would want to trade some players away rather than acquire guys. And it looks like nobody wants our players, so we might have to make some moves we might not want to make. Oh, here we go. Okay, JP France. Having a good year for the Red Sox, for Jonathan India and Boston Kellner. Not really worth it for me. Is that it? One more trade? I'll check in on Jonathan India now. If this many players are being offered for him, he must be generating some interest on the trade market. And even though he's a veteran player that could probably boost us if we had an injury in the playoffs. Let me check prospects, though. And then I do want to see if I can pair him with Quintana. No. What about something like this? Okay, that's better than before. He's not a free agent after the year. He's in arbitration, so we could just bring him in and cut him. And Aaron Ashby. DeGrom. Bring in Alcantara and DeGrom. Be crazy. Let's entertain it. I'm thinking yes. I'm thinking we're gonna bring in Jacob DeGrom. I don't care. I really don't care. This is insane. What about that? Throw him in there. What do you need? Too much. Okay. Sure. What if I took him out? Is he like the primary factor in the deal? Yeah, he is. Whatever. AAA depth, be darned. We brought in Jacob DeGrom. We are going for it, ladies and gentlemen. We are absolutely going for it. Get up there. Look at this rotation. I mean, come on. Sandy Alcantara, Romero, DeGrom, Stever, Rodriguez. Boner, sorry, buddy. You got to go down. And then Spores, I think I need a lefty. So. What lefties do we have in the trade block? Can I do a reliever for reliever negotiation with a minute 30 left? Let's find out. Sam Hedges. Having a good year. I think we can pull this off. Where's Spores at? Yup. All right. I thought I traded him in the deal for Rogers. I guess I didn't. Spores has been good for us, but I need a lefty. Bringing in the best lefty on the market. Any prospects? No. Whatever. Done. All right. I'd consider that a busier deadline than I thought it would be, but I don't care. We have vastly improved the team. I'm going to put Maui Huna back up there, even though he's hurt for 2 more days. So here is what we have. Manager Andreas Gabler has reset the lineup. And versus righties, Vaughn, Colas. Why is he deep? Oh my God, why is he leading off against righties? Colas, Pena, Robert, Ahuna, Springer, McMahon, Kelly, Adames. Off the bench, a variety of options. Against lefties, Diaz, Vaughn, Pena, Springer, Robert, Rogers, Adames, Colas, Kelly. Pitching staff, come on. Sandy Alcantara, Fernando Romero, Jacob deGrom, Jonathan Stever, Eduardo Rodriguez. Deadline's over. I don't need anything else. You're interrupting me. Lang, Mania, Jackson, Soriano, Novacell, Moran, Rogers. Hentges will be up there in the setup role. We've got a fine team here, folks. Best record in baseball. Just got even better. Added 2 bona fide stars, frontline starters, to pair with a guy who's got an ERA under 3. A guy who's, look at this team. We get off Jose Quintana. Maybe we add a little bit to the payroll, but really not all that much. We'll have deGrom next season. We'll have Alcantara. We're ready to compete now and later. I am very happy about this trade deadline. I will get back to you once we get to the playoffs, which we will assuredly be making. And I'll let you know how the season has gone the rest of the way. All right? Thank you. Bye-bye.